BBM, Kapsat, mag-ingat ka. Pag natuloy ang impeachment ni VP Sara Duterte, magkakaroon ng revolusyon sa Pilipinas. Bakit? Una sa lahat, ayaw na ng mga Pilipino sa iyo. Dahil totoo ang nangyaring malawakang korupsyon at ikaw ang may kasalanan at ikaw ang itinuturo ng lahat. Pangalawa, ang gusto nilang pumalit sa iyo ay si VP Sara Duterte. At ang ipinipilit mo, mga taong umawak ng pwesto sa kanya, nakapalit niya, ay hindi naman namin kilala at hindi namin gusto. Kaya simpleng tanong lang po, papayag ba ang Pilipinas na magpatuloy ang malawakang korupsyon? Hindi po. Kaya dapat umalis si BBM. Papayag ba ang Pilipinas na hindi si VP Sara Duterte ang papalit sa kanya? Hindi rin po. Dahil ayaw namin yung mga tao na ipinupush nila na bumalik sa kanya. Hindi namin sila kilala. Kung ayaw namin ang mga leader na nakaupo at ayaw namin yung mga leader na ipapalit, garantisado BBM, magkakaroon ng revolusyon sa Pilipinas.
Powers through our foreign relations, geopolitics, etc., to persuade friendly nations, which are members of the ICC, to take a look at the situation of PRRD before the ICC. Yun lamang po ang magagawa natin sa ngayon. Other than that, wala na pong legal recourse na available pursuant to the Rome Statute. Now, going back to the impeachment, napakaganda yung paliwanag ni Attorney Harold. Comparing the situation of the AMLA Secretary Director pronouncements or statements or however you're going to call it, regarding these so-called billions of pesos transaction that have occurred in the bank accounts of VP Sara and her husband from 2005 ba, yung sinabi ko 2007, I can't remember the exact year. But it is way beyond the period by which the President or Vice President should be considered to have committed any act that may possibly be impeachable, and that should be by 2022 to 2026 or 2025. You don't have to consider the other transactions before that. Because she was maybe vice mayor of Davao, then became mayor of Davao, etc. But those transactions had occurred when she was not the vice president. And in transaction, kahit na ako, meron akong bank account, meron akong checking account, savings account, tubo, maraming pumapasok doon na mga transactions. Pag binayaran ako ng kliyente ko, pumapasok doon. Pag nagbayad din ako, whether that is for my bills, telephone, television, internet, etc., naniningil ng utang doon, lumalabas. Eh yun ang kanilang nilabas sa kunit. Sorry, sa mga traditional media, yung mainstream media. Why do you have to put that in your banner story as headline, and then you even have to put some sort of question mark? 6-point-something billion or 3-point-something billion. Ang questionable transactions or suspected transactions na lumabas dito sa bank account ni VP Sara, that is not headline, that is not news. That is pure and simple propaganda, black propaganda, demolition job against the Vice President. Because we are talking only here, supposed to be, kung ano ang naiwan na pera doon sa kanyang banks from 2022 to 2026. And the transactions that have occurred within that period, hindi gano'n ang presentation sa media. Yun ang nakakasama ng loob na itong mga mainstream media supposed to be, you are the ones, the fourth estate na sinatawag natin, na kayo ang nagsasabi kung ano talaga ang dapat. Pero hindi. In your headlines, television, radio, as well as in the newspaper, you put that some sort. Binigyan nyo yung sabihin nyo, 6 billion trip. It is something that is so disappointing pag nakita mo. You are no longer doing your right job to keep the public informed of real events that took place. And then you are going to say that that is news, that is not news. That is black propaganda. Yun ang aking opinion dyan. Kaya, wala talagang makikita na mali doon sa mga transactions na yan. Bank transactions. And what the Committee on Justice keeps on doing is, hindi nga fishing expedition ang tawag ko dyan eh. Kasi, insulto sa mga fishermen natin yan. Wala namang dagat o tubig doon sa Kongreso. Pagka magkakaroon ng pangisda doon sa Kongreso, mangisda ka doon sa West Philippine Sea o kaya sa river sa Cagayan. Doon ang fishing expedition para mapakinabangan ng taong bayan. But if you are going to turn the Congress of the Philippines in order to fish evidence, malansa yung ebidensya. Kung meron lang kayong makukuha ng ebidensya, and that is not allowed under our existing rules and procedures. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes. Pilipinas Star here. Yes.
Ano po kaya yung chance
Yes,
kay
sandali.
Vicky Sara na wala sa yung impeachment now that napakarami po lang sinasabing mga nangyari during her term?
Well, klaro naman na yung ginagawa nila sa House Committee on Justice ngayon. Imagine that it is live sa lahat ng mga media, both traditional and social media. This is more of a vilification campaign against her. This is nothing but a political demolition job against Vice President Sara because she is the most popular public official of the land now. And all surveys indicate, even the surveys that are being conducted by the administration, that she is the person to beat the presidential election in 2028. So they have to come up with something that will somehow destroy her credibility so that in the eyes of the public, bababa yung trust and approval rating niya. Now, as to whether she will be impeached by the House, eto, klaro naman, kaya nilang kunin yung 106 members of the House. I am pretty sure of that. Given the kind of political system that we have and the power of the presidency or the power of the administration, that it can directly influence the decision or the votes of the members of the House, they can definitely impeach the Vice President. But whether the matter in the Senate, once it reaches the Senate, refer to the Senate, and the Senate convenes as an impeachment court, whether they can get 2/3 vote, that I don't think could be possible at this point in time. That's the reason why we have seen this playbook in Corona impeachment. Doon sa Corona impeachment, no? Ganun ang ginawa nila kay Chief Justice Renato Corona, dali Chief Justice Corona. Wala silang ebidensya doon sa kanilang mga allegations in the complaint, wala silang ebidensya doon sa mga presenta ng prosecution sa Committee on Justice, no? And then it reaches the Senate, and even in the Senate, wala silang ebidensya until nakuha nila itong salin na yan. That resulted in the demolition of the Chief Justice, and with the help of the media, which demonized the late Chief Justice Corona, then the senators who are not judges per se, they are politicians in the first place. They are not trained in law. They don't understand even the simple meaning of a sub judice. So they keep on trying to verify, to prosecute, and eventually convict the respondent before the eyes of the public. And the politicians, unfortunately, kaming dalawa ni Harold, pareho rin kaming politiko. Politicians are easily persuaded by public opinion.
My next question po is, may nabasa po ako na pag daw po hindi nakayanan ni Vicky Sara na malampasan yung impeachment, ready daw pong ipalit si Baste. Can you react, sir, if Baste, how credible is Baste to replace Sara on the 2028 election?
Well, in the first place, Baste or any Filipino for that matter, who is a Filipino, natural-born Filipino citizen, at least 40 years old, able to read and write. Ano ba yung isang qualification? No? Natural-born Filipino, able to read and write, no? Registered voter. can qualify to run for president. So anybody na have all these important constitutional qualifications, I can run. Whether he is going to win or not, that is another matter. It's very subjective yan. Pero I'm going to tell you a while ago. Kanina bago ako pumunta dito, my 3-year-old granddaughter, yung apo ko, sabi niya sa akin, Lolo, I'll give you a sticker, a tattoo. Sabi niya, so tinato niya ako rito, sayang, na-erase nung naligo ako eh. Kasi alam niya rito, sabi, nawala yung tattoo. Sabi ko, would not mean something that is related to somebody who has a tattoo. And there are only two persons that I know of. Si Bibi Sara Duterte, may tattoo lang. May tattoo rin si Baste. Now, can Baste be another potential candidate? Sabi ko, anybody. Anybody, more particularly if he or she is a Duterte, would be a strong candidate for whatever position they are going to run in the national elections, president, vice president, or senators. Survey shows that if Baste Duterte will run for the Senate or Congressman Polo Duterte will run in the Senate in 2028, they are sure winners. Sure winners. So tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari.
Thank you very much. Feel free to ask any questions. May tanong ko dito. What are your comments naman about what's happening with the Philippine economy now? We are one of the highest in diesel and gasoline. And may natanong dito, watching my Facebook Live, the biggest news in the world is the Iran-US-Israel war. Pero how come now in the Philippines ang nasa headline news daw puro political quarreling? Impeachment, is it appropriate? Our priorities might be not correct now, sabi ng someone watching via Facebook Live. Any comments?
Yes. Caution, I am not an economist, but I've been reading a lot of economic indicators. I did not take up economics in college, or maybe only a few subjects while I was in college, but I am deeply interested about geopolitics, geoeconomics all over the world. Recently, naglabas ang Fitch Ratings. Fitch Ratings is one of the three ratings organization in the world. The other one is Moody's and S&P Global Ratings. These are the three ratings organizations that have been recognized by the United States Securities and Exchange Commission that will determine, analyze the economic situation and financial situation of any country in the world, whether a country is so-called attractive to investments or not. Okay? And sadly, Fitch Ratings downgraded the Philippines from some sort of sustainable to negative. Meaning to say, sinasabi na huwag na kayo mag-invest dyan sa Pilipinas kasi maraming factors ang rason dyan. Una, wala may makita ang Pilipinas na good fiscal infrastructure like highways, airports, seaports, etc., which are supposed to be economic drivers, running out of them, that will pave the way for a better economic growth and possibly increase the gross domestic product of the Philippines. Pangalawa, because of the scandal of corruption na nangyayari sa Pilipinas ngayon. Alam niyo, yung mga investors, financial managers, allergic sila sa corruption. Takot na takot yung mga yan. Pangatlo, the Philippines doesn't have enough supposed to be so-called buffer stock of fuel or oil. Wala tayong oil reserves eh. No? Whether that oil reserve is operational or strategic, none at all. Maasa tayo na sana meron tayong mabibili supply sa buong mundo. Pangapat, we don't have that big monetary reserve. And that's the reason why, sabi ng mga itong rating agencies sa buong mundo, the mere fact that the Philippines has increased its threshold of debt to equity or debt to GDP ratio from the original 60% to more than that, to 70%, that means na kailangan natin umutang para ma-sustain natin yung budgetary requirements, ma-finance natin yung expenditures ng government. And that is very dangerous because that is inflationary. Inflationary in the sense that you only increase debt to GDP ratio if a country is a manufacturing country like China, the United States, Japan. Okay lang yun kahit mag-exceed of 100%. Pwede kang ng ganung klaseng program. Pero ang Pilipinas hindi. Consumer economy tayo, umaasa tayo sa consumption, umaasa tayo sa retail, umaasa tayo sa importation. Panglima, no? Yung inflation rate natin last year was less than 2%. This year, the inflation rate is already more than 4%. It will even reach to over 5%. And all these economic indicators will say, bagsak yung ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. Even the leaders of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry have warned already that the Philippines may be overtaken by Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar. Imagine that, pati Myanmar na kung saan mayroong ongoing civil war dyan ngayon. And we will be overtaken by these countries. We have been overtaken by Thailand, by Vietnam, Malaysia, ang layo na Singapore, Indonesia, ang layo na naman yan. But we will be overtaken by these three countries in Southeast Asia. Anong mukhang ihaharap natin ngayon? This year, we are going to be the host of the ASEAN Plus Summit that will be held in the country. There are now ongoing ministerial meetings of the ASEAN in our country, tourism, DFA, finance, etc. Alam po ninyo ako, madalas po akong makipagtalastasan sa ibang mga leaders dito sa Asia. At tinatanong nila ako, bakit ganun ang nangyayari sa inyong bansa? Wala po akong maisagot. And that is the reason why I'm so not just disappointed, I'm so worried of our economic situation. Dahil bababa ang remittances ng overseas Filipino workers ngayong taon nito for sure. We will not be able to reach $38 billion of remittance from our overseas Filipino workers, given the fact that we are susceptible to the Middle East crisis that's happening right now. Wala nang may padala na pera yung ating mga overseas Filipino workers ngayon nung gagaling sa Middle East. Ang laki po na mawawala. And given that there's no adequate supply that we can buy, if we have money to spend to buy oil products, saan tayo bibili? Ako, I can say to you, with all honesty, in my capacity as a private citizen and with my little network with Russia and China, I've been talking to Russian companies and Chinese companies, so please help us. Please help us, because 95% of our oil product consumption come from the Middle East. And if we cannot get the supply from the Middle East, the only country that could possibly supply us oil products would be Russia. But Russia has to pass that through China. Tapos aawayin mo yung China. Wala makakarating dito ng mga oil products. And if I'm going to talk of oil products, I'm not just referring to gasoline, diesel, or LPG. I'm referring to other important products like, for example, fertilizer and other polyethylene materials na kailangan natin sa bansa.
Thank you, Colonel Olambina. Mayor, Vice Mayor Speaker, may comment here about the economy and ang Fitch ratings daw change our economic outlook from stable to negative. Anong comment ninyo sa sinabi?
More than anything, ang kailangan ng ating bansa ngayon ay moral leadership. Kapag kayo po ay nasa isang pamilya at naghihirap po ang inyong pamilya, gusto niyo bang nag-aaway ang magulang ninyo? Gusto niyo ba na ang tatay ninyo ay nagpapakita at binibigyan kayo ng inspirasyon na magtrabaho? Gusto niyo ba na nakikita ninyo ang inyong ama na nagtatrabaho? Yun po ang hindi ginagawa ni BBM. Tayo po ay nasa gitna ng krisis. Tayo po ay naghihirap. Pero absent siya all the while. At lahat ng ginawa niya ay inaaway niya ang ina ng ating bansa. Ngayon, ang mga Pilipino lubog na lubog. Ganado ba tayo magtrabaho o hindi? Hindi po. Yung mga transaksyon natin sa ibang bansa, ganado ba sila makipag-transaksyon sa atin o hindi? Hindi. Kasi yung pamilya nga natin, hindi natin maayos eh. Mali ang priorities ng ating ama. Totoo po yan. Pagdating sa national policy, ang gobyerno ay mali lamang ang magagawa pagdating sa economics. Dahil ang nagpapatakbo ng economic ay free markets. And it is a social dynamics by and large. And mahirap siyang kontrolin ng centralized power. Pero the least you could do as a leader is to give moral support. Hindi yung nagbabangayan kayo parati. E lalo lang inaabuso mo pa ang iyong legal and constitutional process para awayin ang iyong asawa, ang pangalawang leader ng iyong bansa. Lalo mahal na mahal siya ng iyong mga anak. Tingnan natin sa survey, sino ang mas mahal? Si BBM o si Sara? Si Sara. Lalo na ang tingin sa atin ng bansa ay napakakurap natin. Kaya nga ako bilang Ilocano, si Atty. Ullarbino ay Ilocano din yan. Ay sentiment kami kay BBM, kaya mo pwede. Kasi nung tumakbo siya noong 2022, pagkakataon namin yan, nababawi ang pride namin eh. Gusto namin siyang bumawi. Pero puro absent. Kaya nga nung mga nakarang araw, nagpakita, nag-exercise, nag-jumping siya. Kahit may mga chismis na totoo may sakit siya, baka sumibot lang nung araw na iyon. Huwag mo muna pansinin yun. Pagbigan mo muna yan, kabis mo muna, parang bata. Sige na lang. Magpakita ka lang na malakas ka, nagtatrabaho ka araw-araw. Araw-arawin mo yan. Bigyan mo ng inspirasyon ang mga Pilipino para sa kahirapan na dinadanas natin. Ngayon, hindi tayo masyadong malungkot. At sa'yo kami kukuha ng inspirasyon. At dalhin mo ang Pilipinas pabalik sa prosperity. At itigil mo na yung mga hindi productive na gawain, katulad ng pag-i-impeach kay VP Sara Duterte. Dahil kahit na anong gawin ninyo, hindi po yan benta sa taong bayan. Hindi yan benta sa mga Pilipino. Hindi yan benta sa mga ibang bansa. Hindi rin yan benta sa international community. Yung Japanese ambassador nga nag-comment sa UN, di ba? Na pinapersecute natin yung mga Duterte. Hindi yan benta sa lahat. Pero napakaliit ng paningin ninyo, bulag na bulag kayo sa pera, nabayaran lang kayo, o sige. Push lang ng push kung ano ang isinulso sa inyo. Gusto ninyo i-push na maging presidente? Si Romualdez, di ba yun naman ang tanging dahilan simula ng umpisa kaya gusto ninyo i-impeach si Sara? Eh ngayon, talo na siya, lumabas siya ng isang araw. Inamin niya na totoong may nakawan, di ba? Hindi niya naman itinanggi na may nakawan. Ang ginawa niya, isinisin niya lang sa executive. Parang si Voldemort si BBM. He who cannot be named. Ang may kasalanan daw ay you, the executive. Si Zaldico at saka si Cheese Escudero. Lahat daw sila may kasalanan. At nanakot pa. Ang dami daw niya alam tungkol sa current administration at yung mga nakaraang administration. Kaya ang tanging hinihiling daw niya ay gawin itong legal process. Maging stricto sa legal process. Dahil alam niya, hindi naman kasi lumabas siya kasi na-arresto si Zaldico eh. alam niya kung pag-aalis siya, tatakas siya po akong ngayon. At ngayon naiipit na siya. So magkukumpul-kumpul na silang lahat. Si Romualdez, si Zaldico. O pag nagsama lahat ng mga yan, magsak pati si BBM at yung executive. Yun ba ang gusto natin mangyari sa ating bansa? Hindi po. Yun ba ang kailangan natin ngayon? More corruption? More palusot? More pang-aaway sa isa't isa? Hindi po. Ibalik po natin ang tiwala ng taong bayan, tiwala ng international community sa pamamagitan ng pagtrabaho ng tama ng ating tungkulin. Kung ikaw ay presidente ng Pilipinas, itigil na ang korupsyon. At i-prosecute mo yung mga kurap talaga. At itigil mo yung pang-iipit ng iyong kalaban. Dahil futile na po yung exercise ng impeachment ni VP Sara Duterte. Dahil sumuko na rin pati si Romualdez, hindi natatakbo yan. Dahil alam niya sila rin ang pangalan niya. At alam niyang babagsak siya at sinabi niya doon sa speech niya na lahat ay dadalhin niya pabagsak.
Thank you very much. Very thought-provoking analysis by two legal experts and dynamic, courageous politicians, Attorney Raul Lambino and Attorney and Vice Mayor Harold Prestigio. Do you have one or two more last questions before we request for the closing statement? May guest time dyan na tagalin ko. Yes. So, okay. We'd like to request our two distinguished leaders to give their closing statement. Let us start muna with Attorney Raul Lambino. How do you summarize what's happening again? Paki-summarize ulit for the public and for our media friends. ICC case, impeachment, and flood control scandal.
Thank you, Wilson. Yeah. Una, yung ICC tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, na-post ko na rin ito sa aking Facebook page as early as last week na hindi talaga ako hopeful na magkakaroon ng favorable judgment yung ICC for Tanay dito. And true enough, ganun ang nangyari. But again, nananawagan ako sa ating bayan, sa ating mga minamahal na kababayan na ipagpatuloy pa rin po natin yung pagdadasal na sana ay manatiling malakas si Tatay Digong na malampasan niya itong suliranin na ito at makabalik siyang buhay dito sa ating bansa sa lalong madaling panahon. Pangalawa, yung pinag-usapan natin impeachment, tama si Atty. Harold dyan, wala nang mangyayari dyan kung hindi talaga masisira yung bansa natin. At nakakadismaya, pag tingnan mo yung mga membro po ng Kongreso, lalo-lalo na nasa Committee on Justice, na kung sino yung mga mapursige na kung ano na yung kanilang binabato laban kay BP Sara at kung sino-sino na nang pinapatawag para lang magkaroon sila ng media exposure, ay ito yung mga membro ng Kongreso na nababanggit na sasangkot sa mali-malitang pera na alinsunod doon sa affidavit ng 18 mga bayaning sundalo na lumabas sa Manila lamang. Kung meron pa po sanang delikadesa na iiwan, nag-inhibit na sana itong mga ito. Pero tulad na sinabi ko hindi naman ito mga quiz, hindi naman ito mga judges. Parang wala sa kanila yung importance of to recuse or to inhibit themselves for proceedings kung saan ay pwede meron silang conflict of interest. So asahan natin na magkakaroon sila ng decision at pagpipilitan pa rin nila yung kanilang pag-demolish kay BP Sara. Pangatlo, itong issue ng corruption na gusto nilang pagtakpan pero hindi na nila mapagtatakpan yun. Dahil meron silang gustong isalba. Kung sino man yung gusto nilang isalba, pero isasakripisyo nila itong mga personalidad na katulad ni Saudi Go o kaya ito na si House Speaker Martin Romualdez. At itong mga naging pahayag itong nakarang araw ay nagiging parang exciting yung situation. Una, hindi natin alam kung totoo kang inaresto si Saudi Go sa Czech Republic. Dahil hanggang ngayon, wala pang lumalabas na konkretong impormasyon. Pero I gave the President the benefit of the doubt, he being the highest official of the country and holder of vital intelligence information that ordinary citizens like you and me do not have. Maaari meron siya intelligence information o may sensitive information na hindi pwedeng ginagdagan, whatever that is. So hintayin natin dahil may mga lumabas na report na nagkipag-ugnayan ng Department of Foreign Affairs sa Department of Justice doon sa Czech Republic patungkol sa sakaling pagpapawi kay Saudi Go. We want him back in the country. We want him back in the country at tingnan natin kung mapapangatawanan ni Saudi Go yung kanyang mga unang pinahayag sa social media with his videotape statements tungkol na dito sa malawakang corruption that implicated no less than the President and other high-ranking officials of the country. Tapos lumabas na itong video message naman nila in House Speaker Martin Romualdez. He named two personalities that are directly involved and had participated in the preparation of this anomalous budget, the national expenditure of the government, Jesus Cordero and Saudi Co. Insofar as the legislative department is concerned, yun ang kanyang binanggit eh. Of course, there are other actors there. coming from the Congress of the Philippines, both in the Senate and in the House. But at the same time, sinabi ni House Speaker na mas malala ang participation ng Executive Department dito. Because it is the Executive Department that prepares the National Expenditure Program. And it is the Executive Department that will approve also the General Appropriation Act and eventually the disbursement and execution of these projects as to whether these projects are properly executed or not. He said that the Congress of the Philippines or members thereof do not have any say. Yan ang sinabi niya. Totoo ba yan? Hindi ko alam. Pero, yan ang kanyang statement eh. So he's trying to put all the blame to the Executive Department than his office in particular. And he made mention of his somehow accomplishment in his legislative district in Leyte. So these are statements that are declaration for or against his interest. The fact remains, he did not categorically say that there was indeed corruption committed by him. But he did not also deny that indeed there was corruption that was committed by the government, both the executive department, who according to him have a bigger accountability and responsibility. In other words, he impliedly admitted that there is massive corruption in government. That's why he issued that warning that he cannot be used as a fall guy. As a fall guy. So tingnan natin kung ano ang mangyayari dito. At tulad nga ng nabanggit ko rin, na hopefully itong ating mga investigative bodies like NBI and other agencies of government take a look at these statements coming from the House Speaker, former House Speaker. Why not take a look very closely kung totoo nga itong mga debates ba itong ito? And not just deny itong mga 18 soldiers, former soldiers, that have bravely issued their sworn statements in affidavit form na ganito yung kanilang naging observation and participation in the so-called maleta ng basura scam. At the last note, this may be not one of the topics that have been included in our agenda today, but I have to say this for the sake of our Filipino youth, mga kabataang Pilipino. Masakit na masakit po sa akin na malaman ng isang balita na may mga kabataang Pilipino na patay sa engkwentrong naganap sa Negros Occidental, na kung saan involved na naman ang teroristang grupong NPA, CPP, NDF. At ang mga sangkot dito ay mga estudyante na galing sa pinagpipitagarang pinakamaganda na pamantasan sa bansa, ang University of the Philippines. Masakit sa akin po yun na malaman na itong ating mga kabataan ay masasangkot at mapapatay sa isang kwentro sa mura nilang kaisipan. Dahil tatlo sa aking mga anak nakapag-aral at nakapagtapos. 3 children of mine have studied and graduated the University of the Philippines. Nagpapasalamat ako sa Diyos na tama yung landas na kanilang tinahak at hindi sila nasama sa grupo ito. Pero nakalulungkot na may mga guro na iba yung kanilang itinuturo sa ating mga kabataang Pilipino. At nakalulungkot ng ating pamahalaan ay parang binabaliwala ang sitwasyon na ito, na ito, grupong terorista nito, lalo-lalo na yung kanilang mga kasamang political front organizations, ay naging kabahagi na rin nitong tinatawag na collaborative efforts to demolish the Vice President and the Duterte family. Pero hindi nila inaasikaso itong karapatan at itong pangangalaga doon sa ating mga kapataang Pilipino, lalo-lalo na yung mga nag-aaral ko dyan sa University of the Philippines. To the bereaved family of these fallen young people, my condolence, and I'm sorry, I pray for the eternal repose of the soul of your children. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Attorney Raul Lambino. Last but not the least, the charismatic young Vice Mayor of Reina Mercedes in Isabela, Attorney Harold Prestigio, for your closing statement.
BBM, Kapsat, mag-ingat ka. Pag natuloy ang impeachment ni VP Sara Duterte, magkakaroon ng revolusyon sa Pilipinas. Bakit? Una sa lahat, ayaw na ng mga Pilipino sa iyo. Dahil totoo ang nangyaring malawakang korupsyon at ikaw ang may kasalanan at ikaw ang itinuturo ng lahat. Pangalawa, ang gusto nilang pumalit sa iyo ay si VP Sara Duterte. At ang ipinipilit mo, mga taong umawak ng pwesto sa kanya, nakapalit niya, ay hindi naman namin kilala at hindi namin gusto. Kaya simpleng tanong lang po, papayag ba ang Pilipinas na magpatuloy ang malawakang korupsyon? Hindi po. Kaya dapat umalis si BBM. Papayag ba ang Pilipinas na hindi si VP Sara Duterte ang papalit sa kanya? Hindi rin po. Dahil ayaw namin yung mga tao na ipinupush nila na bumalik sa kanya. Hindi namin sila kilala. Kung ayaw namin ang mga leader na nakaupo at ayaw namin yung mga leader na ipapalit, garantisado BBM, magkakaroon ng revolusyon sa Pilipinas.
Thank you very much. Before we